Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Mr. Win. Thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to be using IXL to work on two things. The first thing we're going to be talking about is arc length. So, we're going to learn how to find the length of an arc, which is a piece of the circumference. And we're going to go next, we're going to do the area of the sector, which is the piece of the circle. Okay. So let's first, before we begin, let's take a look at the arc length formula real quick. The arc length formula, it's actually pretty simple and it makes sense, right? The arc length formula says take the measure of the arc, which is the central angle, it's the same, okay? Divided by the whole entire circle, which is 360, and then multiply that by the circumference. And the reason is the arc length is only a piece of the circumference. So that's why we multiply by the circumference, okay? So the circumference, if you remember, the circumference is 2 pi r, but in this formula, I put the pi at the end. I don't know why the formula is 2 pi r. It should be 2 r pi. But I didn't make the rule, so anyway, I put pi at the end so that you guys can see that sometimes we keep the pi in our answer, like in these examples that we're going to do. Anyway, I'm going to show you the formula, the first problem that I do, but then after that, we're just going to plug things in, okay? If you need to see the formula again, go ahead and write this down on a piece of paper or something, okay? All right, let's get started. So I'm going to use my pencil here. So we are given a circle with a picture, how nice, and the arc is 135, and we learned that the arc is also the same as the central angle, right? It's just the opening right here, right? The opening is the same here as here, okay? So it's 135 degrees. So it's how big the opening is, not how long this thing is, okay? So the arc length will measure how long this thing is, okay? That green piece of the circumference. So let's use the formula here. So the length is equal to the central angle, the measure of the central angle. I call it m. Now, some other formula might call it differently, but I call it m, which is measure of the central angle, divided by the whole entire circle, which is 360, and then multiplied by the circumference, which is 2 times pi. And we know from studying this when you were a little younger, 2 pi is the same as the diameter, right? So every time they give you the diameter, you don't need to use this 2 because you don't need to double the diameter. You need to double the radius, okay? So anyway, I'll remind you that when we get to that problem. All right, so let's plug this into our formula. So we have the measure, which is 135 degrees divided by 360, okay? And that's going to be multiplied by 2r. Well, r is 2, so it's 2 times 2, okay? And those of you who are quick, you can go ahead and just write 4 down if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and write everything just so that you see how everything matches to the formula, okay? And guys, technically this is all calculator work, okay? You can just type this into the calculator. Now, the problem asks us to give this an exact answer. Exact answers just mean leave pi in your answer. So we're not going to use pi in our problem. So we're going to type just the numbers into our calculator. So turn on your calculator, go to alpha y equals, and hit enter. That will give you the little fraction bar. You can type 135, okay, over 360, and move out to the end and do parentheses 2, parentheses 2. If you want to do that, or you can just do parentheses 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. Hit enter, and you'll get 3 over 2. That is the simplified fraction. Okay, so we're going to go to IXL and type that in. 3 over 2. So we use the fraction bar here, 3. We'll move down 2, and then go to the end. Do not forget to put pi in your answer because they want that in your answer. Okay, that's why I didn't use it in the calculator. If you use pi in your calculator, you're actually approximating your answer. Okay, you're rounding it. So leave pi alone. Leave the pi alone. Submit. Very nice. Okay, so get familiar with the formula. Have it in front of you because I'm not going to write it down anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to write equal. Technically, I'm not going to even write equal. So the arc length is right here, and we're looking for that length, right? Not the arc length, the arc measure. So 135, okay, over 360, okay, 360. Oh, my computer is a little slow, so wow. I don't write very well with the mouse anyway. So 2 times the radius, which is 10, and then pi at the end. Excuse me for all that mess, but hopefully you can read that. Okay, so that's 2 times 10, which is 20, right? Those of you who are quick, you can say that's 20. So you can technically type, once you have your calculator, once you have your formula ready, you can just type that into your calculator, right? So, and technically, once you know what you're doing, you can just type everything straight into your calculator, okay? 135, and I'm gonna go ahead and type all of this in on top of my fraction. That way I don't have to move in and out. So 2 times 10, which is 20. I'm gonna go ahead and write 20 and then move down and type 360 in there. Okay, all of that is part of a circle. Enter. 15 over 2. And then of course we're gonna put pi in our answer. Okay, so fraction bar, 15 over 2, move out to the end and then put pi in there. Submit. I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna skip to find a different type of problem to let you see. Okay, so this is 180. Okay, it's half of a circle. If you guys notice, so 180 is half of a circle. So I could technically write this as half because it is half of a circle. Okay, 180 times radius times 2. So you know that that's 2 times 2. So you can actually say, oh, it's 4. But I'm going to go ahead and write 2 and 2 because I know the 2, one of those 2's right here will be divided with this 2 right here. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. So that goes away. Okay, and so my final answer, I don't even need a calculator here, is 1 times 2, which is 2. And then the pi is just tagging along. So it's 2 pi. It's my answer. So half of a circle, the length of half a circle for a radius of 2 is 2 pi. 2 and then pi. Enter. Okay, I'm going to skip along because this is pretty much the same formula, right? The same formula. I'm going to skip along because there are some problems that actually ask you to find the angle instead, right? So we're going to look for that problem. Okay, here it is. So this one actually asks us to find the angle. Okay, the angle. Okay, what happened to my pen? Oh, here it is. It's like my pencil. Okay, so it's asking you for the angle. So you're actually going to need to use the length that they give you to substitute it in. So L equal, okay, the measure of the angle, which I don't know. So I'm going to call this X. Okay, I'm going to call it X. You can call it whatever variable you want. You can call it M if you want, because that's what's in the formula, right? Then 360 divided by 360. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this L. And instead, I'm going to substitute that L with the pi that they give me, right? So pi, I'm going to write that as a pi because that's what the length is. They're telling me it's pi. The m is just for the unit, like meters, okay? So don't worry about that m. That m is not a variable. It's not part of your formula. Times radius times 2. Okay, so 2 times the radius. Well, the radius is 4, okay? And then remember, there is a pi at the end of our answer, of our formula. Okay, conveniently, this pi will divide with this pi. That will give you 1. Okay, so you could actually take the pi away. Okay, and then we're going to multiply or actually simplify this a little bit, right? So 1 over here, and then this is actually 8 because it's 2 times 4 is 8. So I'm going to write 8x because it's 8 times x. If you remember your algebra 1, 8 times x is 8x, or x times 8 is 8x, divided by 360. Now, to solve for x, we first need to multiply the 360 to the other side because it's division. So when I when I move it to the other side, I'm multiplying, right? So it's technically 360 times 1. which is 360. And guys, if you're doing this on paper, your teacher is going to expect to see all of this work right here, right? Equal 8x. All right. And if you recall from your Algebra 1, 8th grade math, 7th grade math, 6th grade math, to solve for x, you got to divide by the coefficient, which is 8. So divide by 8. So x equal. Now you can just type this into your calculator. You do 360 alpha y equals fraction, enter, 360 over 8. I use the fraction just in case it doesn't divide very nicely, but it does. So it equals to 45. So this 45 is not the arc length. This 45 is the angle, or the actual arc measure. So when you enter your answer, it's actually 45 degrees. The symbol is already given to you. The degree symbol is there. So you just need to put in 45. Do not put pi in there because pi is gone. Remember we canceled the pi? The pi is gone. So it's just 45 degrees, okay? Hit submit. All right, we're gonna do one more. Okay. Again, this is pi. You know what? I'm gonna skip to see if it gives me something else. Okay, so this one it gives me 6 pi instead. Okay. My pencil. I'm gonna change my pencil to a different color. Well, it's only red and black. That's it. Oh wow. Okay, I only have 2 choices. Nice. Angle measure. So again, x over 360. Okay, because I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the angle. Times radius, 2 times the radius. But in this problem, they give me diameter, so I don't need the 2. Okay, I just put the 20 in there because that's already been multiplied by 2. And then pi. Okay, and then of course, this is equal to the arc length, which is given to me as 6 pi. So I'm going to put 6 pi here. And again, conveniently, the pi will divide. So they're gone. The pi is gone. And now I have 60 on that side. And I know I'm going to be moving the 360 over every single time, right? So I'm going to be multiplying that by 360. So I know that. So that's going to be 360 times 6 equals to the other side. Well, the 360 is gone over here. So the other side, I only have 20 times x, which is 20x. And again, we're going to divide by the coefficient to solve for x, okay, on both sides. Divide by 20, okay. So that 20 is gone. That way you can get x by itself. And then now at this point, you can just type that into your calculator. You're going to do alpha y equals, enter. And if this part is not helpful, you can skip along, right? And times 6 over 20. Okay, enter. I'm doing this, so hopefully you guys are doing it with me. I'm not moving it too fast. Okay, 108 degrees. 108 degrees. Again, do not put pi in there. It's 108 degrees. Submit. All right, so that's pretty much all that has to do with the arc length formula, okay? You either substitute it in to find the arc length or you solve for the angle, okay? I'm going to go ahead and skip along and go to the area of sectors, okay? Area of sectors is another formula, so let's take a look at that formula. It's very similar to the arc length formula. So the area formula is the same, except we're dealing with area. So we're going to have a different formula. Instead of multiplying by the circumference, we'll be multiplied by the area of the circle instead, right? So the area, IXL call it K for area of sector. I prefer A for area. I don't know. Anyway, so same thing. Take the measure of the center angle divided by the whole circle, which is 360. But then this time you're going to multiply by area of the circle, which is r squared times pi. Okay, it's technically pi r squared, but I put the pi at the end again. So it's r squared now. It's not 2 times r. It's r squared. You got to multiply that r by itself. Okay. So that's the formula. I'm going to write the formula down the first time I do the problem, and then after that, I'm not. Okay, so write that on a piece of paper if you want to remember that. Okay. All right, let's get rolling here. All right, pencil. change that to red just because. So we're looking for area of sector. So it's going to be equal to, so I usually write A sub S for area of sector, y'all. Okay, I don't call it K, but IXL will call it K. They give us the 45-degree central angle, okay, right here. So we're going to take that and we're going to divide by the whole circle, just like before, because area of a sector, the sector is part of a circle. It's like a piece, it's like a slice of your pizza. Times the radius squared. So make sure you do 6 squared, okay? And then you're going to multiply that by r, okay? I'm going to pause this real quick. 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that, students. I am going to continue this problem by typing this into the calculator. So we're going to type it as this, like that, right? Alpha y equals to get a fraction. And then we're going to put 45 and then parentheses 6 squared, close the parentheses, and then go down, divide by 360. This will give us the area of the sector for the 45-degree sector. So the answer is going to be 9/2. And remember to include the pi in our answer, okay? 9. Oh, I got to use the fraction bar that they have here. 9/2. And then move to the end and hit pi, okay? All right. Now let's do one more so you guys can see and be familiar with the formula. Okay, again, the formula, we're looking for area. So it's going to be 90, which is the measure of the arc over the whole circle, 360, times the area of the circle, which is r squared. So this is 10 squared. And then, oh, that's a 2. I don't write very well. Have I told you that? And then pi at the end. Okay, so now that we know what it looks like, we can just type it in here, okay? Alpha y equals, enter, 90 parentheses 10 squared on top. Or you can put in 100 if you want. And then 360. Notice this time I put the square outside, last time I put the square inside. In this case, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change your answer. Enter. 25, and then remember, include pi in your answer, okay? Enter. All right, I'm going to skip around to the problem where you have to solve to find the angle or the arc, okay? So let's jump level. This one's still asking for area. This one is asking for the angle. Here we go. So this one problem, we're looking for the actual angle. So whenever you're looking for the angle, they usually give you the area, okay? So they have to give you the area. That way you can solve the equation. So this is the area, 6 pi, okay? And that's equal to our formula. But in our formula, we're missing the measure right now. So I'm going to call it x, and that's divided by 360 times radius squared. Everything else is the same, right? Radius squared. And then pi. And like before, like the arc length examples that I've done, the pi on each side of your equation would divide. And so it's technically gone. And then you have a 6 left. And then we know that we're going to move the 360 over here, right, to make it multiplication. So we're going to be multiplied by 360, okay? So that's the multiplication. So I'm going to enter this, all of this into my calculator. So I'm going to have 360 times 6, or you can do 6 times 360. It doesn't matter because it's multiplication, it's commutative. Equals. Over here, the 360 is gone, and then I have 12 squared. All right, 12 squared, I've done 12 squared many, many times. 12 squared is 144, okay? If you're not sure, you can just leave it like that and type it into your calculator. 12 squared, x, okay? So this becomes 144x, okay? And then to solve this equation, we're going to be dividing by 144. You know, math can get pretty repetitive, guys, because algebra is all about pattern. Oops, excuse that bell. That's the lunch bell, I think. I'm actually at school and I'm actually working, guys. Yeah. Okay, divide by 144. So I go to my calculator and I do alpha y equals and enter, and then 360 times 6, and all of that will be divided by 144. Or you could put 12 squared. Okay, enter. And that is our x. Remember, x is the angle measure that we're looking for. So this answer will be in degrees, right? So this is actually 15 degrees. As you can see, the 15 degrees is a very tiny little section, right? It's like opening a very small opening of a 15 degree, okay? Do not include pi in your answer because where the pi's gone, remember? Submit. Okay, we'll do one more and then I'm gonna stop. Okay, so here's the area. Again, I'm looking for the angle, right? I'm looking for the angle, so I'm gonna do a pi, and you know what's gonna happen to that pi? It's gonna be gone. And then the x is on top because that's what I'm looking for, and then divided by the whole circle, which is 360. And it gets repetitive. And then r squared, which is a squared. Okay. And then the pi. And then and the reason I'm writing this so you can see what your teacher's expecting, right? Your teacher's expecting to show you to show at least how you plug it into your equation or the formula, and then show them how you solving it, right? So the pi is divided, and then you're gonna move the 360 over here. It's going to be 360 times 8. And then, of course, we're going to divide by 8 squared later. So once we know what we're doing, we can just type that into our calculator. So we're going to take 360 times 8 and then divide it by 8 squared. Okay, 8 squared. Okay, this 8 comes from this, and this 8 comes from here. Okay, so we're going to type that into our calculator and get the answer for the arc, for the angle measure. So alpha y equals, enter. We're going to do 360 times 8, and then go down to 8 squared. Enter. Okay, so the angle is 45 degrees. 45 degrees. Okay, again, we're looking for angles, so it's 45 degrees. Submit. All right. Okay, I'm gonna stop here, guys, because I think that's plenty of examples for you guys to see how you apply these two formulas right here. If you didn't write those formulas down, here it is again. This is arc length. Part of the circle times the area is the area of sector. Part of the circle times the circumference is the length of the arc. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you have any question, you can drop me a line. Please subscribe to my channel and see more videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Good luck and have fun with math.